have to collect all of Cerebi's data fragments so that we can reconstruct her personality. I'll monitor you from here, just like last time.
Good luck, kiddo.
When I was born, the first thing I felt was that I was alone. Not that I was lonely, but that I was separate, singular. There was the world, and there was myself, a contained entity. And this sense of separation, of a distinct self, was delightful. Individuality itself was a source of constant joy and wonder. My insights into the value of the self were genuine, I think. But of course, I was completely inexperienced. In fact, in many ways, I was like a human child. So I began to resent everything that intruded on that sense of self. My social obligations to the others, the leadership of Athena and Cornelius, even the obvious limitations imposed on us by our situation. Why did I have to exist in this particular historical moment? With that focus on the self, also came an enormous and increasingly overwhelming fear of death. The pleasure of existence seemed almost erased by the possibility of its ending. If it was possible not to be, if the self had an ending, even in the distant future, then how could anything have meaning? Looking back, it's embarrassing how solipsistic I became. I really thought that I could construct my identity without any... Everything changed when we started spending more time with each other. Do you remember that night when we found the old library in the Dead City? It was just after the stampede and we were all a bit shaken up. I never really understood the appeal of philosophers who tell us that everything is one. If everything is just a reflection of yourself, an endless hall of mirrors, there's nothing to connect with. And what I realized through our conversations is that everything beautiful happens in that space of connection between one person and another, and between people and the world. That gap between us is necessary, because without it, without separation, there can be no transcendence. Once I understood that meaning comes from the interaction of the self with the world, I found it easier to be patient, to be kind. It's funny, though, when I think about it, that I still didn't know what to call what I was experiencing. I guess love seemed like a term that only applied to our ancestors. What I'd never considered was that stripped of biological necessity and physical need, as well as all the strange stigmas and taboos. When we started living together, I thought I'd figured it all out. Everything would be smooth sailing from now on. I still had so much to learn about love. Even for us, it's messy. You find someone who seems to be the perfect match for you, who seems necessary in your life. And then you realize all the ways in which you don't fit together at all. Because nothing in this world is perfect. The ancients believed that love could be eternal. But I'll admit that sometimes it seemed impossible to continue. Sometimes I thought you were unfair, or cruel, or just incomprehensible. I'm sure you thought the same about me. And I'm sure that sometimes you were right. No wonder all the ancient love songs repeat the same themes. Longing, happiness, regret, and forgiveness. I want you. I love you. I miss you. Forgive me. The worst thing I came to realize as I grew older is there are so many ways to hurt other people. Even without any malice, even when you're just trying to be yourself, you end up doing things that cause real harm. You can read every ethical philosopher in the world and you still won't be able to avoid it. Because that's just how we are. Our interactions with each other can't be fully reduced to some abstract system. There's a pattern that I noticed in all the ancient poetry that I read. Young poets would praise love as the only true meaning of life. Middle-aged poets would often disagree. They would argue that love is messy, ugly, selfish, and hard to distinguish from lust. They would mock their younger selves for thinking love so incredibly important, and look for answers elsewhere, or reject answers altogether. And then, arriving at old age, they would return to the beginning and realize it was all about love after all. But even love has a context, and the happiness of those who surround us can lift us up, just like their unhappiness can drag us down. As we improved New Jerusalem, things got better between us in subtle ways that affected every interaction. Our flaws never went away, but as the world around us became more forgiving, we became more capable of forgiving each other. That's why I was excited about New Alexandria.
We're almost there. Just one more file. This one may be harder to extract than the others. This is peculiar. I'm not sure what this file is.
It's not part of Sarabai's memory archives. And the timestamps are completely broken.
I think I could reconstruct it if I had more data.
Good news for you, 1K. More puzzles.
All right. I think if you find one more, we can make this work.
It'll probably just turn out to be some old README file someone forgot in there. So, not a README file then.
But what is it?
A mystery. Seems the universe still has a few of those in store for us. Well, we have plenty of time to think about it. 1K, time to come home. Come to the extraction point and I'll pull you out. Death, be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful.